So let's come back, Elsa, to the idea of building communication skills, but specifically looking at the nonviolent communication framework, because we want people to be very productive, but we want people to be able to navigate conflict because conflict is really okay. We talked about toxic conflict, no good, but conflict is okay. And we've used the idea that it's a three-legged stool that will allow you to navigate conflict very well. And the last time we talked about humility. And is there anything that you'd like to add to the definition of humility, which is not being afraid to be wrong?
I mean, so we talk about conflict being something that can bring people closer.
Mhm.
And a long time ago, when I started training with Brave Few, we talked about what are some words you think about when you think about the word conflict. And it was always mostly negative words. So I think it's because people don't like change and people don't like conflict naturally. It's an ongoing reminder that conflict is good and can be good. And I think it's never just like a thing you could just change in a person completely. You have to make an effort to remind yourself regularly. And this is what leaders can do as part of their jobs is embrace conflict and remind themselves to embrace conflict because, you know, it's it's something that can be used and valuable as long as we just have that state of mind and that it can be a tool.
Right. And I like that idea of embracing the potential that you are wrong, or really embracing other people's ideas, probably is another way, an indirect way of saying that. I want to come back to the diva. So it's not that we're looking to change them. We're not looking to change necessarily the diva, but through deep listening, we're looking to support them in seeing the big picture and in moving in a particular direction that really is respectful and honors the boundaries in the workplace. So we've looked at the notion of humility, and I want to add the third leg of the stool, which is I'm gonna call that third leg. Drum roll, please. I'm gonna call that third leg asking beautiful questions.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna call it asking beautiful questions because in order to like in order to get in order to really reap the benefits of deep listening, because the way I've seen it framed, it's more like make the person feel warm, make them feel connected. But listening is purposeful, right? Yes, that can be part of it. But I think if I'm going to spend time listening to someone, I want good quality information. And to get good quality information, it means asking very beautiful questions. And I'm going to pause there for you to just add in. What does that mean for you? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, so I've noticed that there's some terminology that you use, like seeing the beauty in people and asking beautiful questions. And I can't help but notice like a lot of like positivity framed in this way, where you can't help but see like how something is attractive, you know, in using those words and in a good way. It like brings people like, I want that, you know, I want to answer that question because it's something I see as attractive
Mm-hmm.
to or helpful or good for me, something I'm drawn to. So that's sort of what I hear when you use, you know, that the label for that third leg, asking beautiful questions.
Mm-hmm.
Can't help but want to participate in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like what you said, because I'm going to add this word. I've heard many, many years ago this notion that there are terms that are gravitational, right? You just say them. And to your point, it just pulls in resources and information.
Yeah.
That's what it does. And so, yeah, I think framing it in that term, to your point, really draws things in. And so, for me, a question, it's a process, right? With an end result where we just acquire truth, knowledge, or information. And for me, question asking, I'm going to call it the question asking process, is just a powerful way to really reap the benefits of deep listening.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams.
I've always heard of that, but
You've,
never
you've
watched it or read it.
never, yeah. So I saw it when I was really, really young. We're like in my teens, and there's just one part that's always stuck with me, and we might play it in this episode, just a snippet of it, but just as a summary, it's all about there's a place where there's a pan-dimensional being, these pan-dimensional beings, and they're seeking the answer to life, the universe, and everything, right? They're looking for
Mhm.
that. And so they create this massive, this beautiful computer. I think it's called Deep Thought. I can't remember exactly. And so it takes maybe hundreds of years for this computer to answer that question. And then they come to the machine after many, many, many generations, and like the machine has the answer. And the answer to life, the universe, and everything is 21. And they're like shocked. It's
Oh,
like, what? 21? But the gist of it is that they didn't ask a good question. They,
gotcha.
the question was broad. And so the question that they asked literally was garbage. And so they got that garbage. So I thought that was very
Right,
interesting.
right. But asking the wrong questions can take you far past the solution you're actually looking for, which could be right there if you just ask the right question.
Yeah, that is 100% right. And so I would say that if you don't ask the right question, you're going to get an unhelpful answer. And there are some amazing techniques that requires courage to practice, right? And
Hmm.
we'll talk in another episode a little bit, if time permits, for us to unpack the continuum of questions, and each one has its own beauty and purpose.
I want to bring this back to the diva now,
Mm-hmm.
the like more directly. So, are we thinking we want to have, or is it a good idea to have the right questions set out for a person who would fall into that category so that we can
Mm,
get everybody, feeling like they know how to be productive, even if they fall into that diva schema?
sure. Yeah, they fall into that category, sure, or
Yeah,
schema.
there's another
No,
word I'm going for.
yeah, yeah. Part of me I want to say I don't know what that question is, because it depends, right? It just really, really depends what you're looking to measure, right? What are you,
Yeah,
and that's, I think, is the first question you have to ask yourself is what exactly am I deep listening for, right? What am I looking to
yeah,
measure, right? Am I looking to
yeah,
measure their understanding of facts? Am I looking to measure their understanding of process? Am I looking to measure their understanding of policy? Am I looking to measure their understanding of their impact, right? And
yeah.
so there are some things that we could draw on, like effective questions are a form of level zero, right? Where we're not talking to the person, not trying to convince them and persuade them of their bad choices or what they've done is bad, but we're just asking them to think. So
Mm,
I think the key is that we're looking for what I would call thinking questions is one. And sometimes we're just looking to, if we think of the continuum, right, we could say that we can ask a question that's just mundane. Like there are mundane questions that, you're not getting anything deep or profound. And then at the other end, you're looking at question that really help people to think very, very deeply about their own thinking and to really understand where they've gone wrong.
yeah, this is making me think of the class I'm taking called Theories. It's about different theories that have been posed over the years about social work. And there's archetypes, and that's the word I was going for
Oh,
earlier, is the
archetypes.
different
Oh,
archetypes of people. And it's very complicated because
hmm.
an archetype of a person is they're different, motivated by certain things. They've gone through certain life experiences. They have like dark areas in their brain that motivate them, and they're motivated by the id, but they're
Hmm.
also trying to people please. And anyways, there's a archetype that's coming to mind
Hmm.
that maybe a diva like person could fall into, where you can strategically use what has made them who they are to
Hmm.
frame the right question that will work for them.
Ah,
And there's
okay.
different archetypes of clients,
Yeah.
just tying it all together now. There's different archetypes types of clients that can motivate a facilitator to use certain questions that will, like you said, along the spectrum, either get them just like thinking generally or really thinking deeply?
So I want you to hold on to that because I do
Yeah.
want to connect this notion of archetypes and using that as a way to understand the types of question. But I do want to say that our goal is to help people understand that our training is a starting point, and it is about the fact that just because you've done a session with us does not make you an expert. It just means simply that you have some information that will open your eyes to see more, to want more, to be more curious. And so that's a way of developing your proficiency. So we're going to wrap it here. We've gone over a little bit, but I think it's okay. And let's connect again. Come and connect again with us. Subscribe to the channel. Reach out to us with any questions so that we can support you in really understanding how to use nonviolent communication to gain greater productivity and to move the workplace forward so that we can embrace conflict and conflict can bring us closer together. So we'll see you next time.